hey, there's a party going on here, right here. And it's a party that's only going to last till the end of this broadcast. So everybody come on and celebrate because it's my birthday. Oh, Brian's here too, by the way. He's over there.
Something, yeah. There we go. I'll just turn off my color grading for now. How's it going, everybody? Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
April 11th. Yes.
It is Sunday, April the 11th, and 56 years ago today, I was brought into this horrendous world.
The world was never the same.
No, it wasn't.
They never recovered.
It wasn't. Thank you, everybody, for the birthday wishes. I do appreciate it. There's been lots on Facebook today. Thank you very much. 56 years ago. Wow. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it, but don't applaud. Just send super chats. That'll work.
Yeah, that'll work. That'll pay for the cake we didn't buy him.
Yeah, that's right. There you go. So it is Sunday. We missed last week because it was my wife's birthday last week. And she turns, I can't tell you, but
29.
29
I don't
again.
care. I'm 57.
She turned 57.
Hurrah.
Hurrah! And today she is, as soon as her computer's back up and running, she's going to be taking care of the chat today. What's that, babe?
No, I know that.
My computer is still trying to restart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I know that pain. I actually had my work laptop die on me this week, and I decided to go and I got a new work computer. I was able to move the NVMe solid state directly over from the old one to the new one, and everything booted. That was great. But this new laptop, I kid you not, it took me 35 minutes to tear it down to get to the RAM slots. Remember back when they just had like a flap to change the RAM?
Yeah.
This one I have to remove the entire motherboard. I can't even lift the keyboard. Like, I'm sorry. This is why I don't like where technology is going. Less serviceable, shall we say?
So we've got a bunch of people in our members group now. We're up to 30.
So they're all wishing you a happy birthday here. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try and read through this list. Let's see if I can get everybody here. We've got Ann, DJ Minema, Dominic Versetto, Gunter Hele, hopefully I got that right, Joseph Jolly, Loch Ness, Nomfam, Peter Reynolds, Rex Waldy, Robert 954, and Snapshot FPV. That's showing me who's participating right now. So if you're in the chat and you didn't hear your name, write us a message, send us a super chat, give us a like, something. It'll actually pop up on my list then. There's Red Light. How's it going?
Dominic says he was in high school when I was born. Dominic, you're not that old, are you?
Is this a race now?
I guess. 1965. That's the year that I cursed the world, or my parents cursed the world. This
is one thing I'm just going to say about this community is it is great to see the diversity of individuals in 3D printing, whether you're a junior high or a high schooler that's just getting to play with your school's printer, you're at mid-30s like me where you're in your career and you're kind of experimenting again with this stuff, or you're retired or you're late in your career. It seems that this hobby seems to be open for everybody, and that's my biggest excitement point, is that everyone can get started at any time in your life. Don't feel discouraged. All you need is a couple $100 to get your printer going, and then after that, generally you don't need to spend much more unless you start modifying like we do.
Well, I've started to print off my own birthday present.
Uh-oh.
And there it is.
Oh, I think I know what that is for, but I think we're not going to tell anybody. We're going to keep that a secret for now.
I'm going to ask people if they want me to do a series of videos on my birthday present to myself. And if
yes.
Yes.
Yes. Well, I know we want to do that, but does the chat want us to do that? So if you're in the chat,
the show for you to say we're doing it.
if you're in the chat, I'm going to run the members all day today down at the bottom. I don't care. I'm just going to leave them on all day today.
Oh yeah,
if
we're not
you
going to be
are a
showing
member,
anything
thank
too
you
crazy
very
like
much
that.
for being a member. We're kind of off to a strange start today because we really didn't have much planned. But I do have a couple of questions that came in through email, so we're going to do that. If you've got a question, put it in the chat. When Jerry's back up and running, she's going to put them up on the screen for us, and we will.
I'm monitoring
we'll get
the
to
chat
your...
on this screen here, and Richard's over here. So if you
Yeah.
see me looking over, that's why I'm reading the chat from you guys. So, thank you everybody for the birthday wishes for Richard. It's awesome, and I think
Yes,
just
thank
after that
you.
we had Art Eckstein, Dead Pixeled, DeWitt 3D. I think Carol Fryer. That's the folks who I
Carol.
missed. And
Yes.
yeah, and Accord XTC. Hey, glad you could make it, bud.
There we go. All right, so
Just want to shout out, thank you, Accord, for commenting on every single Insider video we put out. We really appreciate it because, without your interaction, we sometimes don't know if the content we're doing is catered for you guys or not. So thank you so much for all the comments.
Again, thank you for all the birthday wishes, folks. I do appreciate it. So let's get into things real quickly. Our first one comes from Roger Sakura, and he says, "Hi guys, I love your videos. Thanks. The question I have today is if I use a 0.2 millimeter thick piece of paper, cardboard, to level my build plate, shouldn't the layer height in Cura be set to 0 rather than an additional 0.2 millimeters? Won't the printer start printing at the 0.2 millimeter paper height, which is one of the nozzle diameter? Is 0.2 millimeters the correct height for a 0.4 millimeter nozzle? I'm a little confused." Okay, Roger, here's the real easy way to do this. If you are leveling cold, the layer height that you're getting is going to be what you're doing in your slicer. Don't pay attention to that when you're leveling your bed or getting that gap between your nozzle and the heated bed. What you want to do, take a regular piece of paper or a post-it note or something along that line, heat up your nozzle to the temperature that you normally print at, heat up your bed to the temperature that you normally print at, level your bed, leave your slicer at 0.2 for the quality or 0.16 or 0.12, whatever it may be, and then start printing. You don't want to set it to 0 because what will happen is your nozzle will crash right into the bed and you will have nothing. So
yeah, just to show, I know you mentioned 0.2 millimeters. That seems really thick paper. So I've got my nice little Masumis here. You can see they're at 0.00 millimeters. I've zeroed it out. We're going to take a piece of paper here, and we're going to measure that. And if we clamp it down nice, and I'm going to, once it's clamped down, relatively okay, I use the little knob on top to tighten it in so that when we pull it out, it's going to hold that. And this paper at the biggest size there is 0.09 millimeters. So I did measure this around 0.7 to 0.9, or 0.07 to 0.09, sorry, which is about a 0.08 millimeter layer height. Now, in actuality, that shouldn't really offset your bed, if you will. I mean, you can do a micro Z offset, but if you are measuring based off paper, it should be close enough that you won't notice the difference. And again, you can go and stage it down just an itty bitty bit, but the reason we use a paper is because paper has some compression. I do have over here, I probably moved it there, but I have a feeler gauge that I use for leveling dual nozzles to make sure they drop to the same height. But with something like metal under there, it's just going to scratch against the nozzle, whereas paper has a slight compressibility factor. So when you're actually pulling on it and you're feeling a bit of drag, you're actually compressing the paper just a little bit. So in actuality, you'll probably be closer to a 0.04 to 0.06 off the bed surface. If your paper is measuring at 0.2, you're probably using cardstock.
yeah, you are. I'm going to lean back and relax a little bit today. Hey, Scarecrow, thank you very much. We've got a super chat.
Super chat.
Because I didn't fix the button yet.
Oh, really? Okay, well, then that worked out. Yeah.
That worked out. Accord XTC is saying hello to Geraldine Ham, who is working hard. Thank you very much, Scarecrow. I do appreciate that. That's cake money.
Yeah. Now, being a live show, I'm just going to quickly spin around and get this print started, so I will be back in 1 minute.
Like I need any more cake.
Wow.
Yeah. So Brian's gone for a couple of minutes. Let's talk quickly about that bed leveling. When you are bed leveling, why'd my camera go blank? Why is my camera playing footsies again? Wow. All right, stop. Okay. So my camera's fine now. All right, so let's quickly talk about bed leveling. When you're bed leveling, the idea is to make sure that both your nozzle and your bed are heated to temperature. What I typically like to do is I will leave it at that temperature for a little while. So a couple of minutes just to let everything acclimate. So I'll bring it up to 205, 200, depending on what I'm doing. If I'm using the Matter 3D filament, I will go as high as 210, and I'll have my bed roughly around 65 for the Matter 3D. Any others, I find you can do it at right around that I don't know, 60, 55, 60. So when you do that, what you're going to do is you're going to allow all that metal to expand. So that space between the nozzle and the bed is going to get smaller because things are expanding. So when you go and do your bed level, you're going to start in the bottom left corner, go diagonally up to the top right corner, down to the bottom right corner, diagonally back up to the top left corner, and then finally back down to the bottom left corner. That way you are going to know exactly where your level is, and it's going to work out really well for you. So that's something that I would definitely do when you are doing that. I'm going to do another quick video coming up in another couple of weeks on how to level your bed, or the way that I level my bed. That way you guys can see it. If you don't have automatic bed leveling, even if you do have automatic bed leveling, you should be manually bed leveling your bed before you use your auto bed leveling. So we got a question coming up here. I think we got a couple. Stoner Gaming Paradise, he says, need help installing a V3.1 BL Touch on the Creality 4.2.7 Silent Board Ender 3. Okay. What type of help do you need? If it's something that's involved, send us pictures so we can see what's going on. If it is a firmware issue, also send us a little bit more detail than that to questions@thefirstlayer.com, because this, I can't really help if I don't know the extent of the problem that you're having.
Yeah, I haven't played with this board, but it sure looks like there is a connector for the BL Touch. There's a white JST one just beside your display out. I could be wrong on that, though, but it does specifically look like a 5-pin header designed for that, but unfortunately we do not have that board either. So yeah, if you send us an email, I can probably look at the schematic for you and determine, but you may have to build your own connector if that is indeed the connection they want you to use for it.
Okay, this one is from our good friend Accord XTC. He says, question about bed leveling and the BL Touch. When it's doing its points of measure on the start of the print, is it taking those measurements and changing how the nozzle will meet the bed as it prints?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. That's the purpose of it. So the BL Touch, what it is just like any automatic bed leveling sensor, it's basically a glorified switch. And when it dips down, it measures. First, it goes to your center and says, home point, this is the 0. And then it moves to certain points across the bed and measures how far down it has to travel from about 5 millimeters up to get to touch the bed. And based off that, it determines from the center point what your offset is. Now, there's features such as fade height that we won't cover in detail, but assuming that's set to 0, as it prints, it artificially modifies the G code to move your Z dependent on where it is in the bed, based off where those offsets were. So the more points and detail you have, the less little ruts you could potentially have, but the longer it takes to probe. Ideally, you want to use the ABL to micro-adjust little deviations in the bed and not simply have it compensate for a warped bed, because it will show in the print quality.
Correct.
So you still want to go and level it with your paper and do your tramming test and all that, but then by running the ABL on there, it will compensate the Z offset throughout the bed. When you enable fade height, that goes and attempts to average it out so that at a certain height, it's no longer compensating for that and it's moving flat. So there are scenarios where you want to use that, but generally I tell people to turn it off at least for the first few prints to make sure your bed isn't completely lopsided.
And Jerry's got another question here.
No.
No, you should have.
No?
There's a couple that came in.
Let's see what we got here.
Okay,
Well,
DeWitt says, if you have a dual Z-lead screws, make sure your X gantry is level also. Absolutely, that's a good
Yes.
that's a good one as well.
That's a major problem that hits me all the time, and I'm still finalizing the details before I share it all with you guys on the best way to dial that in, because it should be a set it and forget it thing. It should be set it once, and it should never be touched again. So we're going to go in depth and involved to make sure you square it up the first time.
So we've got one here, where did I see it? From Hawks. He said, I did something I thought I would never do, and I bought a resin printer. Any videos coming up about resin printing and slicers, specifically lychee? We are going to be doing some very in-depth videos using resin. I have 2 resin printers upstairs. Brian has a resin printer as well. And lychee I haven't tried yet. I do have it downloaded. I just haven't tried it yet. But we are going to be covering some resin as we move into summer, and because I've got some resin parts I have to print. So yes. That is coming.
I have a part coming in for my resin hopefully this week, and then we will be rolling again on the resin stuff. Resin is really cool, but actually, for those of you who don't know, last time I checked a couple weeks ago, we're actually suffering a resin shortage in Canada. It's actually surprisingly difficult to get a hold of UV resin, like by Elegoo or any of these companies right now. So I'm kind of holding on to it. It is looking like they are starting to restock, but a lot of the larger stuff is still, mid-April to beginning of May right now. So that's also one holdout for us right now. We are a little limited on stock.
So we have a few more questions here, but before we get to them, we'll do this one first. No question.
Yes,
question. I have a Beal Touch
in.
and an Ender 3 2.4.7 board, but I want to have it running on an Anycubic Mega Zero. Would you be able to help me out? Yeah, we can certainly help you out on the Mega Zero.
To an extent. It's, the Mega Zero is quite similar. In design. I'll have to check. I believe I did a Marlin build for my buddy on that one, but just remember, at the end of the day, the only thing you're going to have to really tweak around with that board would be the LCD, because I don't believe the LCD is compatible.
I think it is.
Is it? The Anycubic
I think it is.
Mega Zero. For those of you who don't know, the Creality boards, they all use a common LCD, but when you deal with a CR-10 style board that has 2 connectors, and then you go to an Ender one that has 1 connector, the Ender one has to use EXP3. So your LCD has to have that for the 1 connector. I haven't done much work with these machines. Yeah, I think this is the exact one that Dave has there. I'll have to take a look at the code.
I have an Anycubic Zero, so if we need to pull it apart, we can. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're moving the motherboard over, it should basically just work with the default config. Your motors might move backwards is all.
Okay, so let's get into this question. This is from Delee Hart, Remington. It says, I hope you can help me. Nobody else has been able to so far. I recently got a CR6 SE. I used it for 3 days. Somehow the optical sensor got unplugged, and when I went to auto level, the hot end crashed into the bed. I turned it off right away and let it cool, and then turned it back on. I tried to raise the hot end off the bed, and it would not move. I then raised it manually and tried it again. It found the level on the center of the bed and then moved to the number 1 position on the grid. It also throws an error as it probes the number 1 position. It is a 203 homing error. So then I tried printing with it without auto leveling, and the hot end starts extruding about a centimeter above the bed. which is
Yes, yeah.
most grateful if you could give me some advice on getting things back up and working again. I love using it. Before that happened, it's costing me money to have it just sitting here, not printing. Okay. Let me tell you what's going on. When you crashed that into the bed, it didn't know where to go. Literally, it didn't know where to go. So when you readjusted it, you have to readjust that offset. That's why it's printing a centimeter above the bed. If you're not going to use the BL Touch or the sensor that you've got on that unit, then you are going to have to set that manually, but you are also going to have some way of having it come down on an end stop of some sort on the Z-axis. If you don't, it's going to be impossible to do. So my suggestion would be first, if your sensor's not working, replace it. Secondly, once you have it replaced, make sure that you got the latest firmware up on the SE6 or the CR6 and try it all again and just get everything leveled out and you should be good. Brian?
Yeah, I don't know the specific error codes, but it certainly all as well sounds like your bed leveling is actually out of specification now, shall we say. Usually when it throws an error and fails on the bed leveling, that means that you one of the corners is I believe it's 2 millimeters by default, 2 millimeters outside of the probing range of the center point. And so I would do the paper bed leveling check first and foremost.
Yeah.
Just to make sure. I mean, it could be that the sensor is not communicating properly, and there is known issues with inductive and capacitive sensors with that. They do require a lot more calibration than a BL Touch. But it sounds to me like your bed is actually offset at this point, and it's just saying, you know what, I can't level this bed. It's too far out my specification. You can modify firmware to extend that. Yeah. But in doing so, you're trying to hack your way around the fact that your bed is not level to begin with. So do the paper check. Make sure it all goes around. It does sound like your motors are working good, which is good. It just sounds like it's a little screwball. And then, as Richard said, adjust your Z level offset.
Did anyone put a duet board in a Tron XY X5 SA? I haven't.
No,
I don't even own one of those.
Yeah, we don't run duet boards, and quite frankly, it's 100% monetary reason. I've heard great things about them, but when we have machines that are worth about $200 to $500 Canadian a pop, give or take,
yeah,
buying a $200 plus motherboard doesn't really make sense these days. In the early days when nobody was making good boards, it was a problem. But with like all these SKR boards these days being $20-$30 a pop, they're frankly disposable. Now, for those of you who saw my post, I had some troubles with the SKR 1.4 Turbo. I just swapped my printer out to the SKR Pro, which goes for about $65 Canadian on Amazon. And in my opinion, so far, that board kicks the butt out of everything that the Duet does, even with Wi-Fi, because these little ESP modules that you can get for $2-3 a pop, that gets you the wireless features. So I'm on the fence about Duet. They're becoming the Simplify 3D, honestly, of the board world, where it's a premium product. Yeah, it does what it needs to, but there are better, cheaper options out there.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Maybe if Duet comes out with something really cool, like slotted 8-slot steppers with a Raspberry Pi interface, so you can just plug it right in, get your Octoprint serial, things like that. Maybe I'll take a look at them, but I just can't justify $200 plus for what you get right now.
I can't justify it either. I mean, even with the secret thing that I showed earlier, I can't justify that type of board when I can buy an SKR, like 1.3 or 1.4 board, which I've got right here, for $35 to $40, and then put the steppers on it. So.
Now that being said, we're not saying don't buy it. Just set your expectations high if you're going to buy it, right? For a board that's $200, I would expect free warranty. I would expect good customer service, replacements, all that. Because the problem with these hobbyist items, and this is why I like to go cheap with them, is that warranty gets really weird when you're dealing with DIY stuff. Because how would you warranty it, right? Where's your break-off point? And this is what they found when they first brought out the Raspberry Pis, is how do you warranty a Raspberry Pi? because you're not going to know if it died because someone installed it incorrectly. You're not going to know if they overclocked it and killed it. And, when they were selling them as not-for-profit, what else can you do? You have to treat them as disposable. So that's how I treat all my printer boards is they're really disposable. If something goes, generally it's just easier to replace it than it is to fix the components themselves. But if you're spending $200 on a Duet, I would expect that they designed it in such a way to cover most electrical scenarios, and if it fails, they should be replacing it.
DK6-1905 says, sign me up for the 2.4.7 board on a Mega Zero conversion. Okay, we will.
You know what? If there's enough people in here, yeah, let's just do it. I mean, if you got a Zero, clearly you're not using it too much. So
Andrew says, catching my first liver stream.
Live stream.
Oh, it says liver.
I know.
Oh, at the end of the day, I don't think our livers are going to be doing too well tonight.
Well, I don't know. It's Sunday, so I don't. This is the limit of my drinking, and now I'm going to get demonetized, but that's okay.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
I know this is poison in my body, but it feels so good going down.
Absolutely. All right, our good friend Tim here. Great question. Can you talk about the difference between an SE and an RSP PSU? One is way more expensive than the other. Actually, you know what? It comes down to it's a series. So the SEs, I've got, this is a Meanwell power supply. And the Meanwells, the SEs that I have are actually 600 watt. They are just heavy duty power machines. They are designed with additional current. But when it comes, the RSP, if I recall, RSP and LSP are related to the form factor. So there's a smaller size series for the power supplies, and they run a little bit lower amperage, but they have a more powerful fan. And then when you get into the SEs, and unfortunately I have to bring it up from downstairs here, but it's heavy. It's about the size of an original like DVD-ROM drive back in the day. So yeah, just read into the specs for each one. Really, at the end of the day, make sure it meets your current requirements. Find out if the power rails are separated internally or if they're all junctioned together, because that can be a big factor. And then look at your dB level of your power supply, because the 600 watt, for instance, quite loud. I actually ended up cracking it open and putting it in my own Sunon fan. But they are loud units, but they will give you a lot of power too. So hopefully that gets you on the right path, Tim. But if you need to, just send me a message on Facebook, and I can review each of the series for you.
There you go. I've got no more questions in our questions pile this week, so it's all up to you guys now to put your questions in and let us know. And thank you again, everybody, for the happy birthday wishes. They just keep coming in. I do appreciate it.
My apologies for this video quality. I don't know what on earth is going on here with us. I'm going to eventually figure out what these streaming issues are.
Yeah, you have to.
Considering I have paired gigabit fiber here, I don't know.
So what was I going to release this week that I didn't release on Saturday? This week's video coming up is on replacing the heated bed cable on your Mingda. I had to replace mine because it sucked. It actually had a broken wire. If I can see where I put it. I may have put it somewhere that I probably put it somewhere that I can't get to right now. Yeah. Uh-oh. Anyway, but I did replace the wire on the heated bed on my Mingda Rock 3 because one of the wires had come loose and started to arc. Now they've improved that, so you'll see that in the video. You'll see the new cable that they put on there, which is much, much better. Okay, any more questions, Jerry?
Nope.
Max CJ just asked me thoughts on the new mainboard from Big Tree Tech, the E3 RRF V1.1. I want to get a hold of one of these. I haven't been able to get one yet.
They've been scarce here in Canada. They're tough to get.
Yeah, I haven't even gotten one of those E3 turbos yet, to be honest with you. That's why I actually went with the SKR Pro, was just because it's been out for a while. It's Rev 1.2, so there's been a few firmware revisions. Yeah, it was... It's been tricky to get components out here. You know, we've been tracking in the last week because I've been talking with a lot of suppliers on different projects in and outside of the first layer. And I mean, we've been able to get the shipping from China down to about 3 weeks right now. which is still a long period, right? So you have to plan that far out. And that's why we're kind of getting some wrenches thrown in our construction habits. I've just been working on rejigging my studio here, and things are quite frankly starting to pick up due to the current situation. So I've been actually out of the house a lot more than I have been the past few months.
And I still haven't gotten my COVID shot.
Yeah, we try not to talk about it, but Canada's having some problems up here, and that's really putting a wrench in our ability to collaborate in person and just generally operate. So apologies for that. I don't want to use it as an excuse, but it is a major factor right now. So, that's why we're getting little individual videos out. We're hoping to collab soon, something on something neat.
Yeah, we want to get some stuff going here. And with the mystery bag...
Yes.
I can't tell you what it is.
Yeah.
But it's going to be fun.
Daughter still loves the big orange Charizard. I think it was a Charmander, actually, but 3D print you gave her. Back when Alterations came by to grab some parts, I gave his daughter a 8-inch Charmander that was printed in, I think it was transparent orange PET G.
Ooh.
And so it looked really cool with the infill and all that. So it's awesome to see it still holding up.
On another note, if you guys want to, you can still get 10% off on your orders from matter3d.com if you're ordering some of their product. There's new product coming out within the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I've been watching Amon's photos. I am super stoked. I'm going to see if I can pull one up for you guys, for those who aren't part of our Facebook group.
There's new colors coming out. There's new product coming out, so PET G will be available. All that's coming to me this week. I'll be doing some reviews on their new stuff. We'll be printing some cool stuff with their new stuff. And I got told that color... You guys know that color.
Yes.
That color is coming very soon. So they will be our official supplier of the first layer purple. Yes, there's the new one from Amon.
Oh,
look at that stuff.
That is entitled Transparent Blue, guys, okay?
That's PET G.
Yeah, transparent blue PET G. Transparent blue, white, and carbon fiber PET G is coming soon. So for those of you who hadn't seen the little tidbits there, because Matter 3D has been posting videos, they've got a brand new extruder assembly, extrusion system set up, and so they're really ramping up their production now. And so that's where we're getting the colors. So thanks to you who responded to our survey here on YouTube about filament colors. We did pass that on to them, and they used that as a metric to determine what colors to come out. So, this is why we love working with them, is because they're very interactive with our community.
You bet.
And we're just excited to what's coming down the line here.
Now, we've got a question here from Andrew, and let me take this one because I have a specific order that I do mine in. Andrew's saying, I have the Ender 5 Pro and looking at upgrading a few items. Which order should I get the following? Micro Swiss Hot End and Direct Drive, Wham Bam Bed, and BL Touch. Okay. First and foremost, start with the Micro Swiss Hot End.
Yes.
You can go Direct Drive. You don't have to. But if you decide to go Direct Drive, that's okay too. Then I would do the BL Touch.
A lot of good things. So.
And then I would do the Wham Bam last. The BL Touch would be my second choice. That's the way that I would go. Hey, there's my brother Raymond Cleveland. He says, hi, guys. Hi, Ray.
Hello, hello. Yeah, I have heard a lot of good things about that Micro Swiss all-metal hot end. Truth be told, I haven't purchased it because most of my machines I've converted over to E3D V6, so it would be a nasty back conversion. But I've heard it's a great kit. I don't think Raymond Emsley is here today, but at School 3D, he's been using it and loved it. So yeah, it's a great little kit there. But just remember, when you go Direct Drive, number one, you're adding a little extra weight to that gantry, so you may want to slow down your prints. And number two, because it's so vertical, you're going to lose a little bit of vertical build volume. So just keep that as a factor in the back of your head.
There is a question here from Dominic. Is there a rule of thumb for retraction speed? Usually your retraction speed should be double what your print speed is. So if you're printing at 40, my retraction is usually 80. So it pulls it up really fast, and then it brings it back down. The faster it pulls up, the less stringing you get. But as far as the distance goes, that's going to be determined on what hot end you're using. Brian?
Absolutely. The only thing I was going to say is the speeds recommendations will vary based off your material too. So PLA, you like a quick pull, but with more flexible, stretchable materials such as PETG, they do recommend you slow down that retraction and pull it back. And you know, there's lots of ways to mitigate needing large retractions. Things such as linear advance, things such as ooze prevention, and I can't remember what that setting was, the one where it drags the nozzle a little bit on your print after it finishes the line.
That's wiping.
Wiping, there we go, thank you.
Or combing.
You know, combing keeps it within the model.
Right.
So there's plenty of mitigation methods to reduce the amount of stringing. And then at the end of the day, if the stringing is not too bad, you can always take a heat gun or even a hair dryer sometimes and just blast the model outside, and that'll crinkle it right up onto the outside of the model. But retraction should always be kind of your, it's usually going to be based off the hot end. So for instance, if you have a Bowden setup, if you'll notice in these slicers, they recommend about 6.5 millimeters of retraction. When you go to an all metal hot end, you got to drop that down to below 2.5. Gary T was saying a coasting. That's correct. That was the other setting. There was coasting. I don't use that much anymore because once you put linear advance into place, it actually causes issues with it. So
now, did we miss a question from Snapshot?
I'm going to go back and look.
Okay.
Alterations. That's a great statement. That's a good point. Recently changed my solid bed mounts to new aluminum ones and have bed leveling mesh visualizer now show my gantry is sagging much more than I thought. And that's exactly it. You know, I've seen a lot of people go and say, oh, you know, solid bed mounts are bad because it means your bed's going to be crooked. No, solid bed mounts are going to expose if your bed is crooked.
Yep.
And if you think about it, when you have wheels underneath, it should be perfectly square to that gantry, meaning that actually it's your X gantry slightly offset. So that's a great tip to share with our fans, Alterations. Thank you for that. And that's going to be one of the things we talk a bit about this bed leveling there. But,
hey, Joseph Jolly's got a super chat going on. Thank you very much, Joseph. We do appreciate that. Jerry's trying to find a question. I know she is.
Hey, Steph.
Yeah, we
just
are.
Send that question out again. I can't find it.
Oh, here's one from the Scarecrow. I just bought some Captain tape from M3D, tried it with ABS. I thought I bought from them. Any tips for printing ABS? Well, the first question is, what printer are you printing it on?
Yes.
Because ABS, basically ABS, the properties of the material state that to prevent warping, it goes and it basically needs to cool at a slower rate. And so you mitigate that by building an enclosure, or you have a heated chamber, or you build a draft shield. So that's kind of factor one to take into account. Quickly, before I talk about the rest of this, I want to give a special shout out to DK61905 for the $20. That's getting a super chat. Thank you so much.
That's towards the 4.2.7 board with the BL Touch on the Mega Zero conversion. I have a Mega Zero sitting upstairs, and I'm not using it.
But now you need to go buy that 4.2.7 board, and that will get us right towards that fund. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, ABS is a wonderful material if you can work with it correctly. Now, the reason, I'll just break it down. The reasons why most people don't use ABS is, number one, it is trickier to print than PLA. It does require a bit more adjustment. And number two, it smells. You know, Matter 3D, they've done a great job with a low odor ABS. I won't lie to you. I've printed it open air, and it's certainly about 3 times less smelly. But that being said, it does still have a scent. And for those of you who are either sensitive to that or are worried about like hydrocarbons in the air and all that, ABS is just simply a tougher material to work with. Now, the reason it's used out in the world is because it has a high melting point, and it has incredible strength and rigidity to UV resistance. That's why all the parts on cars are ABS. Injection molded is great with ABS. PLA is just, it's a corn derivative, and as you're seeing more PLAs come on the market right now, they're becoming more and more biodegradable. So that's a factor you may want to take into account with that. But if you're doing anything outdoor printing, you want to use ABS. Just be aware that it is going to require those higher temperatures, and that's why we usually say you need an all-metal hot end on your printer to print ABS.
Hey, there's another super chat from Accord XTC.
Super chat.
Thank you very much. And
let's
thank you
get
for
this
the
money
birthday
train
wishes.
rolling for
I
Richard's birthday,
that.
Hey, you know what, we give a shout out on every super chat, whether it's 10 cents or $50, because you know what, we really do appreciate the interaction there, and we love just even chatting with you guys every Sunday here.
So Scarecrow says it's an Ender 3 Pro with an enclosure, so you should be okay.
Yeah. You should be. Just please don't take that hot end above 240, and just print it slower. You know, even if the material says it prints at 250, print at 240 and very slow. Turn off the part cooling fan and keep an eye on that chamber temperature. You know, you may even want to keep your bed at 100, 110 degrees just to keep that chamber temperature up, and then you'll actually have great success with it. If you want to add a draft shield for extra protection, you can. Matter 3D's ABS, I printed with a draft shield on an open air Ender 3 in a room that was about 15 degrees Celsius at the time, but I had to keep that nozzle at 275 for the whole print job. So just bear that in mind. There will be some experimentation.
So KX4 Gaming and Models, he says, I just started printing with an Ender 3 V2. Unsupported prints come out great, but every time with the supports, at least one support gets knocked over. I have used brims and rafts, help. The reason it's getting knocked over is probably because it's too thin. If it's too thin and something knocks it, like the nozzle, it will fall over because it's very brittle. Now, anytime you're using supports that you're used for supporting your model, they tend to be wider, thinner, and a lot more brittle, so they break easy. What I would do is try using tree supports. That will give you a little bit more of a rigid support. They're conical, so when they go up to support an area, they will make an actual cone to go up to that area.
And
Ricky B!
Oh, wow. Geez, they're all flying in there. Yeah. Hey, Ricky, thank you for the $5 there. I'm going to go the super chat. I'm not going to wear out this throat today, guys. Don't worry.
He says, let me get to this real quick, and then I'm going to go back to DeWitt. He says, I have a problem with my Ender 3 Pro. If I could send you a 1-minute video, it would explain the problem better than I could. Where can I send it? You can send that to questions@thefirstlayer.com. That's questions@thefirstlayer.com.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Rick.
And if you do have any, if you want more of a communal feedback here, I think we have the card here we can bring up about our Facebook group, because you can post videos to our Facebook group, and that's sometimes the easiest way of people to share their media and have a discussion.
We don't have the Facebook group one going up, but we do have the one for questions at the first layer. You can send videos here anytime that you want. It works great. Or you can just go to our group over on Facebook. It is called The First Layer. And you can leave your video there and ask a question there as well. But if you want to get it answered on the show, this is the best place to send it. And sometimes we answer you privately if it's a long, drawn-out question. And if it needs a little bit more help, then we can give you in the short amount of time that we allot for everybody here. All right.
Absolutely.
Hey, DeWitt, $20.99. Sorry, Brian, but I wanted to hear Jerry do the super chat.
Okay, go Jerry.
Oh, yeah, it's the super chat tonight.
So DeWitt says, just a shout out to Matter 3D. I've run almost 3 rolls of their PLA, including 90% of my current Droid print, and it's running flawless and looks awesome. We like to hear that.
You know, we're not going and all the time saying Matter 3D is the best filament, because we don't need to, frankly, right now, to be honest with you guys. Your testimonials are just backing up exactly what we found right off the bat. So thank you for, quite frankly, jumping into the boat with us and giving it a try and proving that it's not just that we are really good at 3D printing, more so that this is a really good filament.
Yes,
so for those of you who joined us a little late this morning there, we have an exclusive discount code with Matter 3D. Just go to matter3d.com and use the code TFL10. CR-10 to get 10% off your entire order, no limits. And I believe he's just finishing up the big batch of PLA right now. So they're going to have a huge stockpile of, I think it was gray, right?
Yep.
Gray, white, and black off this batch. And I think red and blue were coming through on this one too, but I haven't received any of those ones yet. The
And
gray,
is that a case-sensitive
No,
code?
it can be uppercase, lowercase. It just has to be TFL 10. And that way it lets them know that you're part of our family and that you want to try their stuff. So we do have some samples available here. If you're in the Calgary area, we can get some samples out to you as well.
So just talking about samples for one moment, guys, just to understand, we did try doing some shipping out of samples for folks. But because of the current postal system, the cost to send 100 grams of filament was over $14. Okay, yep. So just bear with us. If you are in the Calgary area, that's great. We are trying to look at some options to send out some little 100-gram packets, but it's still $4 or $5, which is, when we are essentially not making much profit off the show right now, that's all out of our pockets. But if you're in the Calgary area, send us a message and we'll see what we can do to get you a sample. That way you'll feel a little better when you buy a kilogram for your first time.
You bet. Thoughts on replacement beds? This is from Alteracious. He says, like the thicker solid aluminum ones for being perfectly flat, not the bed print surface. Here's my thoughts on it. If you've got a printer that has a thicker bed, like you're looking at a 6 or an 8 or a 10 mil bed thickness, yes, they're not going to move as much. You're not going to see the dips and the things that you would see on a thinner bed. However, it takes a lot longer to heat up that aluminum, and you're going to need a heater that can do it. So you're going to need a silicone heater, like the ones from Kinovo.
Yes.
Those ones will work much better on a thicker bed. But also, that's going to add weight. So if you're on a system that is going back and forth, like most Cartesians on your y-axis do, that's a lot of weight to be pushing around. So it's something to be aware of, okay? I wouldn't do it if I didn't have to. Hey, there's a super chat from my good friend Peter Reynolds. Happy birthday, and thanks for all your help this past year. You are very welcome, Peter. I do appreciate your patronage, and I do appreciate your friendship as well.
We are very much customer-oriented people. It's where we came from. Sorry for my camera here. I was trying to... I've got a new product I'm going to be showing you guys in the next week or so here, and IP address changed on me, so I got to go through and... You know what? I thought I had my router set up to retain IPs if the device was continuously connected, but sure enough, it gave me a little headache. So... But, that's the learning, right? That's the fun in this adventure.
So Jay Cook says, is it stronger than Filicube? That's my go-to for years. Filicube is, I'm assuming, a filament brand. I'm going to say at this point, because I haven't tried Filicube, it probably is. Just because of of what I know the nature of how this is made. And here's a good example. This is raw material, and you see it's got some black flake in it. This is raw material for how filaments are made. So this would be a black filament when it's done. And you can see there's not a whole lot of black that goes into that white to make you a nice deep black filament.
Now I'm going to show you guys something, a little something here, and this is why we wanted to make sure that their site was all proper here, if you will, because we do want them to succeed, right?
Yes.
So under Performance PLA, you're going to see this here. It's manufactured from pure NatureWorks 3D 850. Okay, now this is where pretty much everything comes down to strength. So if you look at any other budget brand of filament, it uses, I'm trying to remember the NGO tablets. They're from NatureWorks, but they're a different type of resin. Now, if you take a look and read through the actual product description here, it's developed for high heat greater than 85 degrees Celsius and high strength applications. So even though it's PLA, which, PLA is just kind of like a category. It's like saying soda. right? There's different kinds of sodas, there's different kind of blends, there's different kind of carbonations. PLA is the same way, and that's why no two reels of filament are ever the same. But the key with this is that, number one, right off the bat, it's stronger in its temperature tolerance because the annealing point is between 80 and 130 degrees Celsius. And we're going to be doing some tests here to showcase why that makes a difference. Now, so far in my experimentation with this filament, strength-wise, I can't break some of the parts in half, whereas I could with the exact same printer, exact same G-code file with a different material. And it comes down to the fact that this material is zero additive apart from your coloration. So when you make filament, as Richard was showing there, you have a bag of pellets. Actually, Richard, can you pull it up there again? I think I'm still the feature. There we go. Yeah. So here is the bag of filament, and what you see is there are two different types of pellets they order. One is a completely clear, and then there's this white blend because you don't want to go and mix color chips into something that has a little bit of transparency to it because it might not blend properly. So with that being said, the pellets in this one are very pure. When you get into cheaper brands, they find different additives to reduce the melting point, to make it what they call more malleable or more flexible and more tolerant. But as a result, you also drop the melting point, and that's when you have to start playing with your bed. So this is why I always say do a little research, if you can, into the filament you're buying, especially when you're buying premium, because there are some companies, and I won't name anybody, but there are some companies that will mark up basically cheap filament for high margin and sell it as if it appears to be a premium product. And slowly throughout our career in 3D printing, we've been learning a lot more about the process. And there are companies that are trying to make their money back, and then there's other ones that are just trying to exploit it by making it look fancy. At the end of the day, if you're paying more than $25 a kilogram, just do a little bit of research into the product. And we endorse this stuff, quite frankly, because I have yet to find a major issue with it whatsoever. And, if I can get PLA that performs like PETG, game changer, honestly.
Well, let me show you the ABS. I'm going to pull out a part here and just show you what the ABS looks like. Here, we'll take out this set right here. This is their black ABS and their white ABS. And we can see that is the white. Like, that's just gorgeous. That is a beautiful piece of printing right there.
Oh yeah, I'm working with that right now. It
Hey,
cleans
Gary,
really
thanks
nice,
for the
Jim.
buck. Really appreciate it. I'm going to give
Gary, thank you.
Good chat.
And this is the black ABS.
That's the matte black, guys, and that is some gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. I don't think, unless Richard has the flock sheet there, we can't show how dark it is, but it's almost like a space gray, I want to call it, just in person because of the matte feature, but it is so nice, that stuff. But yeah, the PLA, honestly, I'm switching most of my printing over to it. In fact, I'm using my cheap filaments just to kind of calibrate machines, knowing that I'm just going to throw away the filament. But if you're looking for something a bit more rigid, we're going to do some experiments to see how it holds up under UV and stuff. But it's just a stronger filament. I won't lie. It's straight up strong.
I want to address this question from Accord. He says, Richard, did you have a chance to talk to M3D about the winter spools if they were shipped out? Thanks in advance. Yes, they have been shipped out. I was assured they were all shipped last week. So you should be getting it, I don't know, 10, 15 days from now, depending on where you are. I think most of our winners were in Canada. I think there was only one in the U.S.
I think so, yeah. And if you guys are comfortable with it, we can talk with them and get the tracking info just to confirm.
So Joseph Jolly just said he checked Matter 3D code TFL 10 didn't work.
Okay, give me a moment just to give it a try here on my side, and I will be in touch with them if there's any issues. Just keep the items in your cart there, and then we'll make sure that's working for you here. Stand by.
There we go. Annealing in hot water sounds like an easier process. Yes, Mr. Cook, it is a much easier process, and we're going to be showing that, like we said, in an upcoming video. As we get more of their filaments in, I want to anneal them, and I want to show you exactly how to anneal them.
And not using any of my baking pans.
No, I have a pot that I can use. Ba-ba-bum. Hey, RT, thank you very much for the super chat. This is happy birthday, bro.
Yeah, thanks so much.
What color is that on the spool in the background? Looks blue and clear. It is blue and clear.
Ooh, good guess. Yes.
This is generic blue, made in China. Print temperature 190 to 220. Storage temperature 50C. I believe this came with one of my printers that came for review. And it's a nice blue. It's not a great filament. Again, when we talk about filaments, there's different grades of filaments, and it's all dependent on what goes into that mix. So depending on the people that you buy from, and you guys know that I'm a big proponent of M3D stuff. I love their stuff, but I also like the Aeron filament. It is very good filament. It's a filament I highly recommend. I like the filament from 3D Fuel. Theirs is a very good filament. A little higher price, but a very good filament. Kodak filament, very good filament. There's a lot of great filaments out there, and there's a lot of crap out there on the market. I hate to say it, but I'm not a huge fan of Sunlu. I know a lot of people use the Sunlu. I've never had success with it. It's always been a
early
problem
on,
for me.
They had some really good rolls, but I have noticed it deteriorated. Now, Accord XTC was just asking if you have any prints in the Matter 3D that you can show. Now, I know you posted some photos on the Facebook page, but do you have any of those items by you?
I do.
Perfect.
They are right here.
And while Richard pulls that out, Alteracious, where's the cheapest place to get 99% isopropyl? I'm still buying those Costco packs myself, but Tim DeWitt 3D might know where to get the cheaper, larger quantities, if you will, there. As for trying the Prushman, I have not yet. I've had actually a couple troubles with my machine, and I'm saving that for when the machine's in perfect condition, because I really don't want to waste it. With a 0.8 nozzle, it makes it really easy to burn through filament in like 24 hours. So I'm kind of cherishing that reel, to be honest, and it is beautiful.
There's their white. Look how white that white is.
Even when you cut into it, it's still white.
This is a beautiful print. And that is PLA. By the this is their gray PLA. Very nice. This is their natural PLA. Like, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, their natural PLA is so transparent. I've shown it here before.
Oh yeah, the vase.
Let's see what I got here. I've got one transparent one that I painted in Musso black. Again, this machine was having problems at the time, but filament on the inside, just gorgeous.
Oh, that vase.
It's a nice filament, and this is what we're trying to get to, guys. Is we've always spoken that don't always assume something's wrong with your machine because filament's not printing properly. It's always a good idea to have a nice, high-quality roll in a desiccant bin as you're testing to confirm that your calibration settings are dialed in, if you will.
There is the Matter Hackers Astronaut filament done in their black PLA. So,
yeah, we're going to have some nice B-roll coming up for you guys of these products, because we're really upping our camera game now that we've got all the good gear, frankly. And, I know I'm blurrier than heck, but right behind me here is the Musso black flock sheet, and you'll see it looks pitch black. So when you take photos against it, it is gorgeous. Hopefully I get this right, Carl von Diesten says, happy birthday, Richard. Any thoughts on using inland PLA Plus for car interior parts?
No.
Don't do it.
Don't
do it, because there are some great videos on YouTube of medical doctors showing it what happens when you're locked in a car for a little bit, and it can easily exceed 60 degrees sometimes inside a cabin. And this is why we don't use PLA for car parts, is because it's just too soft in the higher temperature ranges. You want to use ABS. Even PETG is sometimes pushing it, depending on how south, close to the equator you are as the sun gets more intense. We have friends here like Ben Brady who live down in South Texas, and it can get super hot down here. Even up here in Canada, though, we can hit 35, 36 degrees ambient
Easily.
In the summers. So just bear that in mind. That's why we don't recommend PLA. PLA is actually great for casting. So if you are wanting to get some more fancy parts, you can use PLA because due to its low melting point, you can melt it out of a mold.
Yes. One more here for you. This is the Cuddling Owls, also done in the black PLA.
So nice. The one thing I hate about black PLA sometimes is it's gorgeous, but it's very difficult to photograph.
Okay, we've sent a message to Amin letting him know that the code is not working. So just be patient with us, and we will let you know as soon as that happens.
Okay, there's
Yeah,
the
we'll make
last
a post on the
question up on the
Facebook group,
screen.
and maybe
On
we'll
the
put it
screen.
back up on put it on the YouTube page there. Thanks for your patience, guys, with this. There's been a lot of evolving with that website design, and because I'm not ordering every 2 days from them, I'm only ordering every 2 weeks or so, I don't get to check the code often enough there. So thank you for letting us know. Hopefully Amin should be looking into it shortly here.
Yes.
Jake Quick says, my CR10 hot end is done for. I have a Dragon hot end literally sitting on my desk, but now I see Chimera available everywhere. What would you do? Use that Dragon hot end.
Yeah,
It is
use the
great.
Dragon.
Now, for those of you who don't know the Dragon hot end, I've got it on 2 of my machines here. It is a product by, Triangle Labs is making a clone. I learned that recently there.
Yes.
I think it was Fetus made the first revision of it.
Yes.
But it is an E3D V6 compatible drop-in hot end, but it more efficiently joins your heat, if you will. It more efficiently insulates the heat, so you can get volcano equivalent flow rates, but not have an ultra long hot end. It is very easy to install. The fan works great. You just got to be sure that you have a good E3D V6 hot end hot end mount for your printer. And I personally don't like a lot of the carriage ones out there. They have for using the CR10 carriage. You might want to look into like a linear rail conversion. But that hot end it's stellar.
Yes, it's a very nice hot end. I want one. I haven't bought one yet, but I do want one for my new build. Currently, my new build is going to be using an E3D V6 that we're going to upgrade so that it can go up to temperatures of 500 degrees. And you're thinking to yourself, why do you want to go to 500 degrees? Well, because I want to be printing peak, and I want to be printing other higher temperature filaments to test out, which we can sort of do now, but it's better if we have a machine that's dedicated for that particular use. Then we can we can do a range of all different kinds of filaments. So we'll be able to try them and let you guys know what we find.
Yeah, absolutely. Hot ends are always a tough one. And, the good thing is I'm not seeing as many questions come in these days about bad J-heads, because that used to be the big issue. And I'm really, the more I played around with these cheaper clone products, the more I realized they're not actually too bad, but you have to spend the time, making sure you torque up the hot end correctly and make sure your thermistor is plugged in correctly.
Big part of it,
Do your PID tune and all that. Gary T saying peak would be a $40 benchy. Yeah, it's not a cheap material, but let me tell you a little history of manufacturing here. PLA never used to be cheap. ABS never used to be cheap. What it comes down to is it's supply and demand. So the fact is there's not a lot of people printing peak on the market outside of industrial customers. So right now the cost is much more expensive. But now with companies like Matter 3D popping up doing domestic applications, if there is a demand for it, quite frankly, you're probably looking at about 10,000 rolls per production. So, if someone orders 500, it might not be worth it to run it. But, if you're getting enough of a crowd and it's worthwhile to run a batch, then companies will start manufacturing these and you'll start to see the prices coming down. That's why we saw PLA get so cheap prior to the current world situation, was because there was a lot more manufacturers of it. Corn stocks were up and the supply was up. It just varies.
Yeah, it's very true. Ricky is saying, he says he couldn't email the file, it's too big. Ricky, go ahead and put that up on the Facebook group. You have now been accepted, and there's a welcome message there for you. So you can just go put it there and put your question there, and we'll get a chance to take a look at it. Gary T says peak would be a $40 benchy. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it would.
We want to experiment with some really expensive filaments at some point, but it's also like, just why sometimes, the fact is, for most people, you're not going to get into environments that exceed 150 degrees Celsius. You're not printing parts for your oven. You're not printing parts for your smoker or your barbecue. And if you were, I'd be very, very worried myself.
Yeah, me too. Hey, we're running a little long today, but that's okay. If you've got some more questions, we're going to stay on here with you for a little bit longer, if Brian's okay with that.
Sure. I don't have a life.
We're going to stay on a little bit longer with you today because we didn't do one last week because it was my wife's birthday last week. And her and I just had a nice, quiet weekend at home.
Yeah,
and this week has been crazy.
Well, and for those of you on the Facebook group, you might have seen my master blob here. But I've been sitting here boringly trying to see if I could peel this block out here, this silicone sock, because this is the sock for the Dragon hot end, and as far as I know, it's the same dimensions as an E3D V6 one, but I'm finding it surprisingly hard to get Amazon one-day silicone socks for the V6. You can get plenty for the Crealities, but none for these ones, and my system definitely needs it. It actually starts thermal runawaying the moment I kick my fan in because I didn't design a good quality fan, frankly. It's been a fixing weekend for me. How about you guys? Let us know in the comments if you've been printing, fixing, whatever. I'd love to hear it.
Now, our good friend Tim over at DeWitt 3D gave me a roll of filament that he got from filaments.ca. It's called EcoTough. It's this beautiful green-gray color. It. And I've been printing with it for a while now, and it prints great. Tim said he had a bit of a problem. I have a little bit of a XY issue here, but that's no big deal. But at the same token, what did I build here? Well, you can tell there's a Raspberry Pi in there. This is the AIY kit that you could buy from Amazon or from Google. It's the voice kit. So you can turn this into a virtual assistant. You can turn it into basically a Google Home if you wanted to by using the APK from Google. And this was just a nice little case that I had finally found. I've had this for like 2 years.
Yeah, we both bought these when they came out because it was so disgustingly cheap to buy the kit. Yeah. Basically what it is you have to supply the Raspberry Pi yourself, but it came with a push button, it came with a speaker, it came with a microphone. Yeah, and it came with this cardboard box that cuts out for it. And it was a cool little intro electronics project. But, we want something a little more solid than that. So, just letting you guys know, for those of you who are hanging on to the end, thank you so much. We have confirmed with Amin that the TFL code is now working. I have just done a test checkout, and it's now applying again. So thank you for your patience on that.
So there you go. Just got my Ender 3, not even done setting it up yet. King.
Master Lord, that's like 4 bolts. Come on, man. It's the Ender 3. It's just, boom, and you're done. Yeah. Wait till you see a CR-10. You actually have to build the whole bloody thing. That's kind of annoying. So
there you go.
That's why we like. And Y-Tech just finished Voron 2.4 350 by 350 build last week. So I started Mando Hemo. That's great. I've been looking into those. They're very interesting. The only thing intimidating right now is the bolt bill of materials. So Canada, they're kind of painful to source right now. I'm actually trying to work with a few companies to see if I can get us some bolts for a project like that. But I'm going to build it way outside their specifications, and we're going to see how much of a train wreck it's going to be. I spend money because I'm stupid and for your pleasure.
I do the same thing. I want to let you guys know that we are going to be starting a print-on-demand service. Brian and I, because we have all these printers that aren't doing anything, and we might as well put them to work and make ourselves a little bit of money. So we have a print-on-demand service that we'll be announcing officially here within the next few weeks. We are also going to be start to pad out our shopthefirstlayer.com website, where you will be able to buy thermistors, hot ends, or nozzles at least, all the parts that go into a hot end. Screws, we're going to start having nuts and bolts, all that kind of stuff. We're just starting to build out the inventory now. When it's all ready, we will relaunch the shop, thefirstlayer.com, so you'll be able to get some t-shirts there. You'll be able to get these cool little holographic edge stickers.
Did you go ahead and order some stickers, man? I've had like 8 ads on Facebook for the sticker sites this week, and I was actually getting ready to design us some stickers. So
you got one of these. I gave you one. I gave you 10.
Did you?
Check the box
Check the box.
with the
I gave you 10 of
cards.
these.
Okay. I will check that. That's my fault. You know, there are some pretty cool sticker companies out there now, guys. To be honest with you. Now, one other thing I wanted to mention, because I just saw it on the website. I wasn't sure if this was being announced yet, but Matter 3D now has a local delivery option for Calgary.
There you go.
Yeah, so for a little bit of a discount, it's local delivery. I don't know the details of exactly how that's working yet, but if you're looking at saving it, it knocks it down to $9.99 for shipping to Calgary.
There you
So
go.
a cool option to get door-to-door delivery.
And
Yeah, I think that's kind of it quiet up. Tim, I'll check with you on your issues with the subscription. You know, we've seen a couple times this has happened. For those of you, take a look at your member status, post a message, and if it's not showing you as a member, just check your YouTube payment things, because they're kind of funny. It's kind of like if there was a blip in the payment processor, they'll just say, "Oh, it's assumed he doesn't want it," and just cancel the subscription. It makes no sense, but e-commerce for you. I will be working on a few projects this week. If you didn't see Tom's video here on YouTube about 3D printing a speaker, I actually bought the digital signal processor module in that video. It was about $91 total, of which $51 was just the programmer, which seems kind of weird, but it's some pretty fancy stuff. I'm going to be rejigging some of my speakers here at the house, and then I'm getting a little closer to getting this WeDo X40 working. The WeDo is a cool IDEX printer, and it does seem to print lovely, but you have to go and make sure you get the nozzle offsets absolutely perfect. And unfortunately, my roll of PVA filament that I was using, even though it's been sealed for 2.5 years, I think it is waterlogged, so I got to spend some time drying it, because it is coming out. It is probably the worst I have ever seen for coming out of a nozzle for spitting. I've never seen a nozzle actually spit little bursts of steam, so it's going to need some love before I showcase some dual nozzle printing yet.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to DeWitt 3D. If you guys haven't subscribed to him yet, please go ahead and do that, because he's got a nice little YouTube channel where he just does live streams basically and shows you what he's doing, and just talks about it. And right now he's involved in a community droid build. We wanted to get involved in that, but we just didn't have the time this year. We've got our own things coming up for May the 4th. With all things being equal and the world still being on the right plane, I should be in Victoria for May the 4th, where we are going to help Matter 3D officially launch their store, and we're going to take you behind the scenes and show you how filament's made. So
yeah, we've been planning this for a long time, and it's been very difficult to. Quite frankly, we can't plan right now. It's been too volatile still. So we're hoping we're going to have a bit more structure come June or July here. In the meantime, we're just going to be dropping video content. But this is where we're giving our call to help and call to action for you guys.
You bet.
Send us an email at questions@thefirstlayer.com. Post a comment below this video after the live stream, or even just send us a message while you're down there. Like, subscribe. You guys know the drill there. But let us know what kind of content you're interested in. What ideas you have that are upcoming that you need some help with, what challenges you're coming across, because we do love to cater our content for you guys. And as we're coming to, I don't want to call it the conclusion, but probably the midpoint of our series on different slicers, we are open to new concept ideas and new videos going forward. We're not, I won't lie to you guys, we don't have any real backlogs of printers to review right now. There's not a lot out on the market. So we're into calibration, tuning, or, if you really even want a cool 3D prints video, we can do that too, because Thingiverse is starting to get me a little mad. So I'm looking elsewhere, and I'm finding some new and neat stuff out there.
I've always got projects. I mean, I've probably got 2,000 to 3,000 files in my library that I could just print. And if you guys want to see that, I know a lot of you are waiting for finishing videos. on how to finish your prints, and we are going to be doing that. We're going to get a lot more of those going. If you want to become a member of our members group here on YouTube, all you have to do is hit that little join button down below, pick a tier that you like, and we do try and get things out weekly. Sometimes we don't, but we do try to do a new tip every week.
I got a day job, and Richard keeps
This
busy
is my
with
job.
all the other. Yeah, this is his job. But I won't lie to you guys. It takes a long time to produce content. There is a lot of planning. You might have seen some of my earlier stuff where it was very clear I winged it, because that's just sometimes the best way of getting it out. But we want to get you clear and concise information. That's not a matter of opinion. It just works, right? It's just factual. So, Cortex, I'd like to see a printer tour room for both you guys. Yes, that is in the works here. The fact is, this place is an absolute mess right now. You guys can kind of see. Well, actually, you can't see much because this video feed is beyond garbage. I apologize. I don't know. On my side, it's full 1080p. I don't know what's happening on the interweb pipe. I don't know. But, we're going to put together
framed it
video.
so well that you can't see all the mess around you.
Yeah, exactly.
And same thing with me.
It's strategically placed. I needed to vacuum this floor because we have an 84-pound German Shepherd, and he sheds everywhere all the time.
With that said, I do agree that we should be doing a full room tour. I have 2 rooms here. I have the room that has all the printers upstairs, and then I have the studio downstairs. So we will do a full behind-the-scenes studio and print room tour. And Brian's going to do the same thing, and then we'll just mesh them both together, and we'll give you guys a special video.
This is about all I got for workspace, to give you an idea. We don't have a whole lot of room here, so there's not much for a studio, but I'm going to show you guys different studio setups here soon, and maybe even some outdoor stuff that we've been working on too. I've actually been debating setting up a printer outdoors just to see how the environment impacts it for fun, different things like that.
Ricky B, do you ever do Zoom meetings, get-togethers? We do, and they are for our members. We didn't do one last month because March was just so chaotic for us. We are going to do one this month for our members, and that you have to be a member to get in on that. If you're looking for one-on-one instruction or tutelage, you can contact me and we'll work that out.
Absolutely, and we do pop into other community hangouts when we do have time. I used to do a lot of Jerry Knapp's 3D printing and painting hangouts when I had time. Unfortunately, I have been so busy with keeping the machines up and operational here that it's unfortunately taken away a lot of my Saturday mornings and stuff where I used to hang out for 3-4 hours while working on projects. But we're gonna, try and get back into that, engage more in the community, because we're not ever trying to express that the community is a competition, rather that it is an amalgamation of minds, and we love to have community on. We just don't do it for the live streams here because it tends to get a little chaotic with 9-10 people in there. We try to keep this show a little more structured for answering questions, but when it comes to the hangouts, especially with our members, because it's a smaller crowd, it's a little more intimate, and we can all work together and be a bit more candid, frankly. And if we want to mouth off a little bit, we're not going to get demonetized. So.
Yeah. And we usually don't monetize those, but we do stream them live, so everybody can get in. Everybody can look at them, and we don't typically take questions during those live streams, members' live streams, except from our members. But they are open for everybody to watch.
And Ricky, thank you for following as a lurker for a year. Clearly, if you're still here after a year, then we must be doing something right. That's what we always say. We are. I don't want to say we're experts, because I truly believe that nobody is an expert in the world of 3D printing. But we have a fair amount of experience that we can at least share it, and that we can present it to you. That's one of our skills, is that we can come in front of the camera and describe this to you fairly. So. We want to share these experiences with you. We want to share. That's why I post blobs like this. It will happen to anybody, It will. Even if you are perfect, it'll happen. So, Raymond, Richard's brother, has a perfect, happy old as dirt birthday, Rick.
Yep, that's a perfect thing to end this live stream on today.
It's really funny because Raymond's older.
Oh, yes. He's the older brother. Okay.
He is.
He's the oldest.
No, he's not the oldest.
Oh, no, that's
He's the
wrong.
second oldest.
I always think of him as the
It's
oldest.
Robert, Raymond, Christopher, then me.
He just
I'm the baby.
He just makes me feel like he's the most responsible one.
Sure.
But
Sure he
my
is.
brother Raymond, I have to say, my brother Raymond is now into 3D printing. He took home some 3D printers and from me the last time he was here, and he's been having fun and learning a lot. And hopefully, we'll start to see some of his stuff up on Facebook, or he'll send me pictures and we'll put them up for him.
Snapshot, I can just see your message now. I don't know. I'm going to check and see. Now, for those of you who don't know with the YouTube, you have the option of seeing live feed, live chat or top chat. And it always defaults to top chat. So I think I haven't seen any messages from you for a good chunk of time. I don't know what was happening there.
Yeah,
So
I
apologies.
asked him to resend his question, and I haven't seen it.
Yeah, sorry about that, but just send us an email with the question there, and we'll try and squeeze that through here, or send us a PM on Facebook, and we'll take a quick look. Because YouTube is being special today, clearly.
Yeah, obviously. I'm on the live chat. Like, I've got the live chat up, but for whatever reason, I haven't seen anything from Snapshot.
Just these
Yeah,
days when
that
he
is
does
weird. I don't know,
comments like that
and we
once
don't have slowed chat on, just so you know, so you're not limited to what you can post. So if you guys start flooding the chat, then we'll turn on slow chat, but we don't have that on by default. But I think with that, my gosh, we are 20 minutes over today.
Yes.
We had a great time here, but I got to go and fight with some of the printers here.
And
Typical
I'm going
Sunday.
to go and have some cake. I have to go buy some
I
cake.
might have to go to the
some
store
cake.
and have some cake in your honor.
Okay. Thank you again, everybody, for the happy birthday wishes. I do appreciate it. It has made my day. And now I'm going to go and take the rest of Sunday off. Maybe watch a 4-hour version of the Justice League again. And yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Accord says he's seeing Snapshot's comments, but I don't know why they're not showing up on this side. Not all of them.
Yeah, the last one I saw from him was, "That's insane how clean that looks," referring to the Matter 3D filaments. So I apologize. At least this is on my side. That's what I'm seeing. So yeah, hopefully we'll get this.
Snapshot, I apologize that we didn't get to your question because we didn't see it. But
yeah, King Master Lord, welcome to the First Layer family. We are just excited to see what comes off your printer there. Be sure to join us over on Facebook, facebook.com/thefirstlayer. Facebook.com/groups/thefirstlayer. Sign on up there. You just have to go and we just have to authenticate the individual users just to make sure that we're not getting a bunch of bots or a bunch of companies coming in and trying to sell their filament. We do keep that to a fair minimum there. But join us over there.
And we're going to be calling that again. Once a year, we tend to go through and let people know that you know, over on Facebook, it is an extension of what this show is, our weekly show, and what this channel is. We do allow certain people to advertise their YouTube channels from time to time. But sometimes we get the individuals that just want to put up a video and, you know, promote themselves. And we typically take those down. Again, companies, the same thing. If it doesn't say admin approved and we haven't seen it, please let us know. Because, you know, it is our community, and that includes everybody here on YouTube and over on Facebook. It's our community. So I really like that people report things when they can. And if it doesn't say admin approved, then we have to take it down or let them know. Ricky B, thank you for becoming a First Layer member. Thank you.
We really appreciate all the members.
You will be involved in our next live stream. All right. So with that said, guys, thank you very much for joining us today. I'm going to go and enjoy some time with my wife. Brian's going to go do some work. I'm not doing anything on printers today. I'm just going to go and enjoy some time. And with that said, my friends, we will see you again on Tuesday with another great tip. They're not that long. They're only a couple minutes long, but for our members, you guys will get another tip. And what else we got going on this week? We've got a new video coming up on the Mingda Rock 3 where we replaced the heater bed cable, so you'll see that, and then we'll be back here again on Sunday with another live stream. So until we see you guys next time, remember that the first layer is always your foundation to a great print.
We'll see you next time, guys. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.